Good afternoon. So today we're going to explore some of the features of Higgins Legal. Now, the reason why you see several different boxes when you go into Higgins AI is that unlike other AIs where they deal with either one AI, for all of everything you need, whether it's legal, real estate, writing, strategy, fitness, fashion, whatever. Or you deal with several different AIs, but each one doing just one task. So one AI doing strategy, one AI doing writing, one AI doing fashion. Higgins is quite different. So its patent process is actually where you have multiple different AIs working together as a team, because the philosophy is that we don't really do things on our own. We need a team to work on things. So whenever we do a project, and if I'm working on legal, do you work as a legal, a lawyer completely on your own without anybody's help, without any assistance, things like that? Generally speaking, no, right? And if you do, that's great, and you work on your own, but you're only going to grow so far. If you want to grow and become a bigger and bigger firm, you're going to have to grow in and bring in partners and bring in, all the different staff, that you need in order to grow. You need a team. And that's the same thing. So the AIs in Higgins over 18 now, we're actually up into the 30s and 40s of different AIs working together. This one is specifically suited for legal. So we've got a bunch of AIs that are working together, and these are some of the top AIs. We're talking about Gemini, GPT, Claude, Perplexity, so there's this whole series of Copilot, bunch of AIs that are working together to make this legal piece relevant. Now, you'll find it typically in the work. So if you've got Higgins and you go into the work section, you can also find it in you if it was just added, which in that was in my case. You can just click on here and you can get into it. So you've got things like you've got to analyze a legal document, generate a legal letter, generate a legal form, and generate a docket for a law firm. Okay, so we're gonna look at the three different things today. There's so much you can do. You're gonna start seeing more buttons as we keep adding on more and more programs for Higgins. These are really set up for really when you're beginning, right? With AI, if you don't really have any experience with AI, you just want to mimic a workflow, fantastic. You can just use these. These are some of the more general workflows or popular workflows out there. There are other workflows that we'll be adding. However, if you do get your own company, Higgins, so there won't be just Higgins Legal, it'll be Higgins, your company Inc. Right? It'll be your company Inc. legal, not even Higgins on it. When you have that piece there, we sort of set it up and design it to what you're looking for, right? For your workflow, for your staff, for yourselves, for your assistants, all of those things going forward. So there's a lot of features and functionalities that we can do here. So let's just deal with the basic piece. Let's generate a legal letter. So you can type in and generate a legal letter, and just you could type in what the legal letter is, or you can say, okay, what do you have, Higgins, in terms of what kind of legal letters you can write? Okay, so Higgins is going to give you some examples: demand letter, a cease and desist, notice of breach, a contract termination, payment demand, formal complaint, letter of intent, other. You could create whatever other letter that you want. So what you could do is I'll just say notice of breach. So I'll copy and paste this. Boom, notice of breach. I put that in there. I have no idea what a notice of breach is. I'm not a lawyer. We're just in AI. But again, we'll go through this and I'll learn with you, right? In fact, you know exactly what this is. I don't know what it is. So I'm just learning. You're just watching. So name of the party in breach, description of the agreement. Okay, what the contract is. I'm assuming that's a contract. Specific breach, what they failed to do and did improperly, and the desired remedy. Okay, so just a general one on a breach of contract, whatever that contract may be. So Higgins, boom, there you go. A nice general breach of contract. These are the different stipulations. Now you can go in and you can start adding things. So if you like, I can customize this letter to the recipient details. You can make it more firm, more neutral, more strongly worded, right? So as you start to modify this, let's say I want to make it more strongly worded. And you could take this general one now and you could say, tell me create a new strongly worded version. So you can upload an existing letter to say, hey, this is a template that I like to use. Again, Higgins is personalized to you. The more and more Higgins knows you, once you update a letter, it goes in knowledge base. It's going to actually start learning and learning what your language is. So you won't ever have to say to Higgins after a few times how strongly worded you want it to get. It'll just get to know you. It'll get to know you and your writing style and how you like to write to your clients and how you like to write to the different individuals that you do write to as a lawyer. Again, I'm not a lawyer. Um, so again, Higgins is writing a much more strongly worded one. Now, typically, sometimes Higgins will create a new version of the breach of contract. This is a Higgins decided this is a different version of the contract. Okay, and now you could say make it longer. Okay, you could add different elements to it, different things to it. You can add more description about the contract, things like that. And so Higgins will now create a version 2. So this is what I wanted to show you. So it will when you start changing the form and updating the form, it doesn't go back and create something new because then you got to scroll up and down for the same form. If it feels it's the same form, which in this case it does, then it'll go to version 1, version 2, and then you get version 3 and keep going on that way. And you can easily just download these versions, boom, and boom. You get the immediate letter right there. Okay, downloaded right away for you. That's very cool. Okay, so you get that letter sort of set up for you here. Very easy to get to. From this letter. So now you can do any kind of letter you want, any kind of different, ways that you can set up the letter. You can go in and now write a different type of letter. Now, what I like to do is always remember to label your threads. A thread is a form of a conversation. So, for instance, this is a breach of contract letter. So I'm going to write breach of contract. Okay, so anytime I'm going to be writing breach of contracts letters, I'm going to go back in here. Why is that? The reason is that just like any human being interaction, when you go back and you're talking to someone about something that that you've informed them about in the past, like say, oh, do you remember that last case with John, last week or something like that? All of a sudden, their brains go back to the case. It remembers everything about the case that they remember of the conversation, and they'll go back to the case, and then they'll be able to answer the question from the case. So you always start a conversation with, "Oh, do you remember if that last incident that happened in the courtroom?" And then boom, and then their minds will go back to it. Same thing with Higgins. You want to go back to the previous thread that you had with Higgins. So rather than go out there and write another letter, if you're creating a breach of contract, go back to the breach of contract and write another breach of contract, because Higgins will then know, how strongly worded you want it, what kind of length you want it. All of that will be easily remembered. Now, it doesn't mean that if you did a brand new breach of letter, that a brand new conversation, a brand new thread with Higgins, that Higgins won't remember that. Chances are they will, but just like when you're trying to update someone on something, and you're speaking to them, having them remember what you spoke about, having them remember if there was something that you actually did together about this before continuing on to add more information, always value add. Always value add, right? So instead of saying, hey, I can't believe this happened in this courtroom and this was crazy, versus, hey, do you remember what we talked about, that event in that courtroom? Look at this. This is crazy what just happened now, right? And so now they have like context, right? You talk to them about something that happened, and now you're telling them what happened, new piece of information. Same thing with working with Higgins, all right? If you want to create a legal form, let's go into now a legal form, and let's see what the legal form is like. I have no idea. I've never really worked with the legal forms. So this is my first time, as you can see, working on these. You can see there's not very many threads with me and Higgins here. Ah, okay, there we go. A general business agreement. How did you know in business? Because Higgins knows I'm in AI. It knows my zip code. It knows the corporation. It automatically just went ahead and created a general business agreement. It also knows I like general stuff. Okay, because I've been demoing general things across the board, whether it's real estate or insurance or what is it? Oh my, like all over the place, all different types of industries, writing, vacationing, all these different AI teams of AIs working together. Higgins knows that I like the general stuff. Okay, there we go. So right away, boom, general agreement. I think I know what you want. Now maybe I didn't want this, maybe I did. Okay, so this is very cool here. So I've got a general form here, a general business agreement, purpose. I have to write the purpose of the agreement and outline it, services provided, terms, fees, limitation. Okay, so now I want to say, okay, I want to make this a little bit more thing. So generate a partnership agreement form. Okay. And then you can also ask Higgins, and we can do this in just a bit. What kind of forms can I generate with you, right? What kind of business forms can I generate with you? But now I want a business partnership agreement, and boom, there's my partnership agreement. The purpose of the partnership, define the terms, joint marketing initiatives, technology integration, AI-powered workflow, revenue sharing opportunities. Again, it knows who I am, right? It knows the company. It knows, so it's going to tailor it. That's the personal approach. That's what we want with Higgins. We want Higgins to be personal to you, to know your business, to know what you're doing, what you're, what are the different, unique aspects about your business, about you yourself personally as an individual, and we want Higgins to tailor suit that. This is Higgins is doing exactly what I wanted Higgins to do, and I've never used this part of Higgins before. This is absolutely the first time I'm doing this live in front of you. I've never used this Higgins before, so this part of Higgins before. So this is absolutely new to me. Okay, partnership sharing, decision making, confidentiality, intellectual property. Now, you'll know more than I do whether this is complete or not, or how this is working or not. I mean, we upload a lot of different databases. We upload the different standards for the state that you're in, things like that. So we do train Higgins on a lot of different features. We do have lawyers that vet all of this, but I can't really tell you whether this is complete or not. You as a lawyer would know better than I would whether it is or not complete. But that being said, this is the kind of partnership agreement. Now, if you want to go back and modify it, so let's see, does it have a termination clause? Let's see if I know my, oh, termination. Okay. Expand the termination section. Maybe I didn't word this properly or not as a lawyer. So we should see a version 2, okay? Because Higgins is taking that partnership agreement and now is going to expand the termination agreement. Notice that how the governing law is the law of Texas. Okay, here, because this it knows I'm in Texas. Again, it's going to know what state you're in. It's going to know who you are. We Higgins doesn't come just as is. It comes with training sessions. We go through training sessions every single week. We have training sessions on how to use Higgins. If we're actually tailoring Higgins to your team, to your company, and you have your own version of Higgins that is just for your company, your firm. We actually have training only for your firm. Anything that goes into your firm AI belongs to you, and your firm does not belong to anybody else. This is a general legal AI that is for anyone who is a lawyer to use. But if you have your own firm-based AI, that is only for your firm. We cannot copy it, share it, review it, even demo it to anybody else. It's not that belongs to you. It's fully your intellectual property. So again, termination. Wow, look at it added 4 sections to the termination section. Pretty cool. Termination for convenience, termination for cause, automatic termination, effective termination. Wow. Okay. So Higgins speaks legal. Little did I know, Higgins speaks legal. Okay, there we go. You know better than I do whether this is accurate or not, or how much. We know this is accurate, but whether it's complete enough to the level that you want. Okay, it's always going to be where we know it's going to be accurate. We know it's pulling from the state laws of Texas, and what are some of the basic pieces, but we, obviously as a legal professional, it's important for you to review it, make sure it's complete. Train Higgins, like ask Higgins, hey, it's not complete. I'm missing these sections. Add these sections in. Higgins will learn that for later on. Okay. And if you find that Higgins is not doing something that you need as a legal professional, please email support@higgins.ai and boom, we will be on it. We will train Higgins to that level and make sure that you're satisfied. We will open up a ticket automatically as soon as you send an email. A ticket opens up and will not be closed until you're satisfied. We have tickets for customers where clients where we've interacted with them, over 5, 6, 7, 8 times. That ticket is not closed until the customer says, thumbs up, we're good. I like this. This is perfect. Okay. Why? Because that matters to us. It's really critical for us that this is as accurate as possible. That's why we have multiple different AIs working together to make this happen for you. Okay. And if one team member of the AI is not working really well, and we have had that case many, many times, or there's a new team member that can do data analysis better, or in this case, legal data extraction or legal understanding or comprehension better than another AI, we replace the team member or we upgrade or train the team member. Whatever we do it in the background. We take care of you to make sure the end result is what you care about, and that meets your exacting standards. We care a lot about that. Okay. So again, I can also expand intellectual property, confidentiality, revenue sharing sections. I can, what kind of forms can you generate? What types of forms? Types of forms can you generate? And let's be specific here. What type of legal forms? Okay. And let's see what Higgins pulls out. Okay. Whoa, okay, there's a lot here. All right. So these are some of the things that you can look into, like partnership agreements, non-disclosure agreements, service agreements, independent contractor agreements, employment agreements, consulting agreements, vendor supplier contracts, terms of service, privacy. Oh, actually, you know what? I may use that one. I really like that one. I may use that one. Software license agreements. I may use that one too. We have to update ours. So I actually may use this AI after this to get this going. Data analysis, data processing addendum, marketing co-branding agreements, referral affiliate agreements, operating agreements, shareholder agreements. Oh, I may need that one too. I may need the shareholders agreements, memorandums of understanding, lease agreements, purchase agreements, release and waiver, general business and custom forms tailored for Higgins AI operations. And if it's your firm, it'll be your firm operations. So even though this is a general legal AI, with Higgins, and the way that you set your profile here, and we'll talk about the profile when you get trained on Higgins, it actually knows your business, it knows what you do. So even with the general tool, it actually gets really specific. But if you have your own firm-based AI, so one of these boxes, and let me just label this quickly as forms or agreements. Okay. So if you have your own particular agent, so that would be like under your particular name. So like these are chapter building tools. There's different ones for different businesses. This is BNI. We've got, Red Realty. We've got tons of different businesses. 43,000 businesses that we work with that use Higgins. Not all of them have their own AI within Higgins, but the ones that do really use it quite a bit is their own intellectual property. So very important here. Let's go back to the last one I want to talk about quickly is generated docket. Now this one came from a lawyer friend who's a friend of the family who's told me, Malik, could Higgins generate a case in a can? I'm like, what is a case in a can? He goes, that is everything like a docket that has everything about the case, all the different schedules, everything that needs to be set up. And I'm like, I have no idea what dockets were at the time. So I went back, I did some research with him. As a legal professional, he's actually an injury lawyer. And injury law is really important, that they can use AI, especially because, obviously most injury lawyers don't get paid until the final settlement happens, and the settlement can take months, sometimes years. We don't know. It can take a long time, so they're sucking money until that period of time. They're investing a lot of different money in order to make that case go through. So the more money, the more that Higgins can generate these things, a case in a can, my friend mentioned, as Dan mentioned, or docket in this case, for the case law, that can save them, hundreds, thousands of dollars right away, if not even more, tens of thousands of dollars of investment right away, boom, just with AI. So very, very powerful. It actually has a direct cost savings for these law firms, and which is why Dan was really into this, because his law firm is relatively small. He's got about 3 or 4 or 5 partners, I think, and to have a case in a can would just be amazing. So here, Higgins is asking you, okay, what kind of case type you want? Personal injury, contract dispute, criminal case, family law, intellectual law. Let's do personal injury for the sake of doing personal injury. I have no idea what this will do. Again, I've never used this piece. I know it's been trained, devs trained it, all of that good stuff. And then let's do a case summary. Please provide a case summary. Let's say, yeah, let's try this one. Motor. Oh, that sounds too terrible. Like, okay, let's do a motorcycle accident. It's terrible. It's disgusting. I lost friends like that. Okay, so slip and fall, a commercial property. Boom. Okay, let's do something a little bit more innocent. Still very traumatic, but innocent, more innocent. And then let's see what Higgins will produce. Boom, personal injury docket case. Let's see. What do we got here? We got a slip and fall commercial property prepared for Higgins AI, prepared by Higgins AI. Of course, it'll be prepared by your firm. It'll be prepared for whatever client you have. In this case, the case information, again, I've given Higgins nothing. Okay, I basically just did not write the case, didn't do anything, kept it really general, like I keep doing it with all these demos. But that being said, even with this, obviously there's a lot more details to add, but we can even add a general case description. If you can copy and paste a case from already a letter that you wrote, boom, you're winning. Okay, the plaintiff counsel, the defense counsel, the insurance adjuster, the docket timeline, investigation, the pre-suit, the litigation. So these are when they need to be completed. Discovery. So interrogation serves. So it gives you a list of all the different, I'm assuming a list of all the different dates that things need to be done. We are looking into, and I know with Dan wanted with a case in a can, to have actually the dates inserted. So it would read that area that your case belongs to, grab that from the website of the case, and actually put out when those dates would be based on when the case is started, so that you actually have a full timeline. So we are working on training Higgins to get that to that level. Yes, we're working on Higgins to get to that level. Very, very powerful. Exhibits checklist. Of course, we want the legal assistants and everyone to check the dates and everything, but we want to get it to a level where it pre-populate, so that saving you even more time, more costs, as we move through these cases. So exhibits checklist, medical records, medical billing. So it's really identifying all the different key records that you're needing. Any notes, timely follow-ups, confirm retention of all evidence, deadlines. And again, you can just keep going. I can also generate a demand letter, a complaint letter, a complaint template, a case summary, a liability evaluation, a full workflow automation checklist. This is awesome. Wow. Okay. I'm not even a lawyer, and I know that this is awesome. Okay. So it's not exactly a case in a can yet. Okay. I like to be conservative here. Dan's still looking at it, and we've got a bunch of other lawyers looking at this. We know it's going to get much more improved versus this. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. But definitely, I believe we're on the right track. The legal is saying it. They're giving us a thumbs up so far, but they're saying, hey, we need more. And you know how you legal guys get, legal professionals get, you always want more. One of my cousin-in-laws is actually a top 40 under 40 legal professional in Canada. She's absolutely brilliant. Her husband, who's also a lawyer as well, they work really hard, And one of the things they tell me is, Malik, we just, most of our time we're dealing with generating these documents, and it's just so much time, so much energy, so much cost for them, and it really takes up a bulk of their time. So I'm sure you can appreciate more than me, more than anyone, being a legal professional yourself, how amazing this can be. Just from the little bit that we've spoken about Higgins, you can download this thing here. You go back to Docs, download it, boom, click on it here, and boom, you've got your personal injury case all set up for you here, all ready to go for you, prepared by Higgins AI, prepared by your company, whatever it may be, and then you just move forward from there. It's very simple, not complicated. Again, you can add more information. I'll add more revisions, things that you can add, like a demand letter, a complaint template, a case summary, a liability evaluation, a lot of things you can add to Higgins. And again, when you go back to Higgins, don't forget to also label the conversation. So this is a injury docket. Okay, make sure you label them, so when you want to go back, create other injury dockets, boom, it's there. If you want to just create a general docket for any type of docket that you want to create, that's fine too. It's up to you how you want to create your conversations. You want to be specific, you want to be more general, but remember that, like working with any individual, making them remember what, before you start the conversation, about something you mentioned in the past, something you talked about in the past that relates to this conversation, boom, that gets them right on track, gets their brain zoned in to the particular thread that you had, the particular conversation you had, and boom, they can go out there and give you much more relevant information right away. So again, this is a quick overview, very, very small snapshot. We're talking like peas in the pod of what we do with Higgins Legal. There's so much more we do. As you can tell, I could spend hours and hours and hours here working with you on just one little area alone, from the legal perspective. There's more coming. We've got lawyers on this thing, and if you become a Higgins customer, and we hope you do, if you have any suggestions, any additions, support at Higgins.ai. We open up a case for you, and we make it up. We keep working to your exacting standards to make sure you're happy. And when you give us a thumbs up, we close the case, and we know we move forward. Okay. Of course, if you do your own firm, so you'll have your own firm logo, you'll have your own box under your own firm. That is personal to you. We do not, anything you add to that is own personal to you. We cannot take that and share that somewhere else. So everything you do, your own workflows, your own way of working, who has access within your firm to that particular piece of AI, that's all you. Okay, that's all based on your firm and the way that your firm works. So you own that piece, and you can put that as part of an asset for your company as you move forward. So that could become an asset that appreciates in value as you keep adding it more and more, and it gets trained more and more within your company and your firm's processes and legal cases. Okay, so that's what we're doing with a lot of legal firms, including Dan's firm. So we're getting all of their cases, their clients, everything in there, and we're making sure that it's very personal to his partners. So each of his partners gets Higgins, and then we've got some of the assistants that get a kind of like a different type of assistant that's more for assistants itself. So they're more focused on assistants versus partners. So you can have two different boxes, one for partners, one for assistants. Partners can get both. Again, there's different permissions that you can build up as we work with enterprise businesses, public companies, things like that. So again, permission, ownership, all of that, yours to control, yours forever. This is your requirement. Anyways, thank you so much for being here and for being a part of this Higgins experience. And we look forward to hearing from you as legal professionals and expanding the legal form of AI. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.